Another helpful thought that has been helpful to me when it comes to actually baking some baseline habits into my life has been to get them done earlier before my resistance has time to wake up and get loud. So, in the most recent episode about mom brain, I shared how it's like if we could just give ourselves a little bit of space to hear that voice that's actually thinking about the bigger picture and can talk us into action, as opposed to only indulging the voice that wants to talk us out of it, then everything can feel so much easier, knowing that we do also have that other voice, that opposing voice in our head that's thinking bigger picture. And so, likewise, I realized this past weekend, which was Mother's Day weekend, there was the Saturday example where I was like, F this. I didn't do it in the morning. I don't want to do it. Morning is over. I don't want to do it. But then mom brain was like, yes, you do. Yes, you do. You can do this. You've look at all these days you've already done it and think of how you feel on the days when you do these things and blah, blah, blah. And still, it was so much harder. It's like if you've ever done choreography for dance or cheerleading or something, or you're learning moves for whatever you're learning moves for, there's this stage where you're just learning and then you're kind of going through the routine and it's called marking it, where you're kind of phoning it in, like you're not really going full out, but you're marking it. It's like, okay, yes, I'm doing the thing. I know the basic motions. I know the basic choreography. That's kind of how I was doing my workouts on Saturday. It was like, this is what I've got. And it was fine. It was still like heart bubble full. You can bet I noted it on my calendar to keep tabs. Like I gave myself credit, participation credit for that day. Check present. Okay. But it wasn't my best work out. So and it was just hard. It was so much harder than it needed to be because I waited so long. So Sunday, which was Mother's Day, I was like, I'm gonna do this in the morning like I normally do because that's actually what works best for me, which is to do it in the morning. And it was this weekend that I realized, right, it's because if I do it in the morning, it's before my resistance has a chance to really set in, which is around lunchtime for me, I'm noticing right now. And maybe that'll change. But I noticed that, like, if I give myself past lunch, I get very slippery in the afternoon and I have all kinds of good excuses to not do the things. So I'm actually trying to see how much I can front load and stack into the morning before lunch, including recording this episode. I haven't had lunch yet. I'm very much looking forward to my lunch because my one of my besties, Bree, sent us some cookies for Mother's Day because she loves us. Thank you, Bree. And I'm very much looking forward to my lunch, my cookie, and my quesadilla. But right now, I'm also really enjoying recording a few of these messages because ever since I spilled them out on paper last week, I'm like, there's a dozen plus messages I want to share with you on how my brain has been thinking about all these habits and things. So I'm just front loading my things that are important to me before I get into that slippery fish in the afternoon where it's like, not, I mean, legit reasons too. There's some mental chatter, sure, but it's also like, I need to go pick up my kids from school. We're going to have some more extreme weather. Lord help us. And then, then I'm doing mom things for the rest of the evening until everybody's asleep. And so I know myself and my own resistance routine. And if I can get these things done before the resistance has a chance to catch me, it's like I get a little head start. Then it's not only going to be so much more likely that I'll do the things, but it's also so much more likely that I will enjoy doing the things and get more oomph out of them, like put more oomph into them. There's more energy that I have to give to this episode while my brain and body are fresh and sparkier, and then I get more from it too as a result. So maybe you already know this. Maybe you already know all of these things. If you do, please record your own podcast so we can learn from you. But I just wanted to anchor that in because that was a helpful shift I noticed this weekend, and it was a night and day difference, literally. But when I did the things early, when I front loaded them into my first few waking hours on Sunday. I'm not a morning routine person, as in I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. Maybe one day I will be, now that I'm moving out of like babies and toddlers waking up in the middle of the night, but no shame and no shade if you're not, because it's like, I just want to sleep. I'd rather do the things during the day, and it's fine for my kids to see me working out. Noe likes to come and do the things with me. And it was funny because Deacon on his Mother's Day paper, one of the things that he wrote was, it's the fill in the blank prompts, my mom is really good at tea tapping. So again, I promise I'll share an episode about dedicated to Teresa Tap and the workouts that I love from her. But in the meantime, the concept of this message is to be really honest with yourself about when you start getting a little squirrely. I imagine for most of it's in the afternoon. So whatever it is in the morning, and it doesn't need to be 5 a.m. club. Like I said, for me, it's after I've dropped my kids off from school. I'm not going to wake up early and do all this before they wake up. Again, maybe one day I will be if I start going to bed earlier. But in the meantime, it works just fine for me to know that after I've had breakfast and everything and everybody's settled, whether they're at home or at school, I'm going to spend, it doesn't even have to be more than an hour and a half. Honestly, my workouts take less than 30 minutes, and I could probably record 2 podcast messages in 30 minutes or less. And so the whole thing could be an hour. And that is like such a value packed, I'm imagining a gem emoji hour. Like those things that I could do for myself and the ripple effect that they have on how I'm showing up for my family, my business, the world at large. Like that is a juicy, nutritious way to spend my time. And if I know, and because I've been doing it for so many weeks and months, again, I know like I could slip out of this at any time, but I'm just sharing what's working as it's working in real time. Like if I could continue to do that and prioritize that, why wouldn't I? It gives me fuel for the rest of the day. It's like charging my battery. So sneak it in, beat the clock before your resistance has a chance to wake up. Do the thing. Just give yourself the best chance, the best energy, like devote that best energy as opposed to scrolling. If you've been doing a slow start, like they call it at school where they're playing and stuff, like that's fine. I did still do my vacuuming and tidying up of things that I like to do after I drop them off. It's not like you have to just jump right into it, but just know that there is a time of day when you're going to get squirrely. It is going to be harder to gain, like to take charge and lead yourself in your mind. So use that time wisely is all I'm saying. For me, this is working. It's just getting a little jump start before resistance arrives. Like, hey, how's that daytime bedtime looking? I'm actually in my bed right now as I'm recording this, but I'm recording this instead of laying here watching, whatever shows are calling me. I do know what shows are calling me. I should probably do reviews of the shows that I've been watching too, because it's not like all I've been doing is creating physical habits. I've been deep in the world of Madam Secretary and West Wing and such in 2024. Okay, now I'm squirreling. See what I mean? Okay, I'm done here. Let me know how that works for you. And I'm curious, is it morning for you too? Like mid-morning for me. It's the optimistic, I can do this. I love to do this. It's just a different voice. It's a different tune. It's a different tone. Let me know if it's the same for you. Meet you back here soon. Bye. Okay, technically that was the end of the episode, but since you're still here, 1, I'd love to thank you for spending part of your day with me, and 2, I'd love to ask you if you would take 30 seconds, maybe 60, to leave a rating and review in your podcast app before you tap out today. If you've already done that, it's amazing. Please send me a screenshot so I can thank you personally, and know that sharing this episode with a friend has the same magical powers, and I deeply appreciate both. Also, in case you're listening to the end to see if I ever actually introduce myself, hi! My name is Nikki Elledge Brown. I'm the host and author of Naptime Empires and this here On Her Terms podcast. You can find me around the internet at Nikki Elledge Brown in most places, but what you may appreciate most is actually over at onherterms.com. It's what I call the insider library. It's where you can get inside scoop, first listen rights, email updates every time there's a new episode, and then special insider only bonus content. It's all over in our private feed. Okay, that's a wrap for real. I'll meet you in the next episode.